Hi again and welcome back. In the previous episode, we added the jumping ability and finalized all the animations for the player. In this episode, we will set up the UI to display text when the player loses or wins. Let's start by adding the UI or user interface to the scene. Right-click on Hierarchy and select UI. Here we have a list of different UI elements. Select Text from the list. Notice that Unity created three game objects: Canvas, Text, and Event System. We won't be modifying the event system or the canvas. I will only briefly explain their role. Event System handles events like mouse clicks for the UI. Canvas is a game object with canvas components. It represents the display of the device the application is run on. All UI elements must be children of the canvas game object. Now, open the scene view. Double-click the canvas on the hierarchy window. As you can see, the canvas is huge compared to the level. This is because one unit in the world represents one pixel on the screen. The UI elements on the canvas are overlaid on top of the game. So when we open the game view and set the text game object's position to 0 on all axes, we see it appearing in the middle of the screen. Let's edit the text now. First, name it to Game Over Text. The game object has three components. Instead of the normal transform component, it has a rect transform component. The rect transform is used mainly for UI. Next, there is a canvas renderer, which all visible UI elements have. And finally, there is the text component. The text field's content is what is displayed on the screen. Let's change the color to something more visible, like white. Then, center it from the alignment. Next, write something like Game Over, press R to restart, press M to go to main menu on the text field. As you can see, the text is only partly visible. The reason is that there is not enough space for the text to be fully displayed. We need to adjust the width and height from the rect transform. Change the width to 700 and the height to 180. Let's see how it looks in game view. Way too small. We need to change the font size as well. Try 50. That's better. You can adjust the size as you see fit. Remember also to change the size from the rect transform if the text is not displayed completely. Now, duplicate the Game Over Text game object and rename the copy to Finish Text. Deactivate the Game Over Text because we want only to see the finished text for editing purposes. In the text field, type something like Level Finished. Press L to proceed. Press M to go to main menu. You can activate the Game Over Text again. Next, let's enable and disable these texts by code. First, we need to go to Player Script and add two variables. Open the Player Script. Under the jump force, write public pool is dead and under it, public pool level finished. These two variables will store the state of the game. In start function, let's set this to false. Write isDead equals to false and under it, level finished equals to false. Also remember the semicolons. Now, where could we set this to true? We have the onTriggerEnter function, which detects if we hit the finish or the spikes. So, inside of the if statement for spikes, write isDead equals to true. And for the finish, write level finished equals to true. What to do with these variables now? Let's save the script and return to Unity. Select the Canvas game object and add a new script to it. Name the script to UI controller. Then, open the script for editing. Before writing anything, we need to add a new namespace to the top. Write using Unity engine.ui. Namespaces are simply used to organize classes. They can be used to make sure that classes with same names don't cause any trouble. Using the UI namespace opens up all the UI-related code for us. Now we can add the variable. Write public text game over text. And under it, public text finish text. The text type refers to the text component of UI elements. Now, let's make sure that the texts are hidden at the beginning of the game. So, in the start function, write game over text dot enabled equals to false. And under it, finish text dot enabled equals to false. Next, we need to find a way to enable this when needed. Earlier we created the two Boolean variables in the player script. They contain the information whether the game is over or the level is finished. What we need to do is to find a way to access those variables from the player script. To achieve that, we will create a variable that contains the player script inside of it. Write private player player. This variable is of type player. Also, its name is player, but with lowercase p. The type comes from the player script's class name. When we create a class in C#, it will become a type as well, so we can use the class name as a type. This variable is not enough yet though. In start function, we need to find the player script from the scene. Write player equals bind object of type, then player inside of less than and greater than signs, and finally parentheses. This will find a player type script from the scene. Now we have a variable that contains the player script. And because the booleans we created are public, we can access them from this script. In the update function, write if player.isDead. Then inside of the curly brackets, game over text dot enabled equals to true. And after that, write a new if statement. If player dot level finished. Then inside of the curly brackets, finish text dot enabled equals to true. Save the script and return to Unity. Before testing, select the canvas and assign the game over text and finish text to the correct variable slots. Then start play mode. When we reach the goal, we get the finished text, and when we hit the spikes, we get the game over text. Wonderful! Everything is working as it should. We have the correct text popping up at the right time. However, we are lacking the ability to restart, and we don't have the main menu yet. We will do those in the next episode. Remember to save the scene. See you again.